Hello, hello, YouTube. How are you doing? It's good to see ya. You need to come around here more often. Your presence always brightens up my day and livens up the room a little. What do I have for ya? Well, I have a little more quality footage, or quality build footage. The actual content of the video, or the quality thereof, that's for you to decide and for me to wildly speculate about. I had a grand time doing some quality invasions, and I had two lengthy clips that didn't fit into the main flow. I like to try to keep the videos, well, I should say ideally I would want to keep the videos under 20 minutes, you know, to keep them a little more bite-sized, a little more interesting, maybe punchier, you know, don't draw them out so long. I fail at that from time to time. I hope to get better at it in the future. But I wanted the video to be a little more exciting, so I had to cut out about 10 minutes of what I thought was still okay footage. I liked this stuff. And so I thought, well, 10 minutes of footage, that's not so bad. Why don't I put these two little bit longer invasions back to back, and you can kind of see what an all-out war looks like. So here I am. I unfortunately, and somewhat fortunately, invade the same guy twice, and I think it was back-to-back at the time of the recording. And this is a fellow who seems to be doing a Taunter's Tongue run, who's a little cheeky, who keeps bringing in blues in the attempts to beat ya. In this first one, though, his aggression seemed to turn off in some capacity once his blues arrived, almost like he felt bad for me. I'm not quite certain. But still, we're able to trade some shots. We're fighting in the Ansel River. Well, yeah, that's what this place is called. We have some water. I'm not able to use my lightning as well as I would like to. And all sorts of silliness ensues. Sometimes you find yourself entrenched in a conflict that is terribly lengthy. And it's hard to get an edge or an advantage over your opponent. Let me take a sip here. Sorry, I've been doing so much talking. And so I feel a little parched. But yeah, sometimes it's a little difficult to get one over on your foes, especially when you're trying to play smart and conserve your resources. Blues, of course, have an invasion timer, so once they get 2 blues, there's going to be a little bit of a waiting period before they can get more. But if you're having a tough time killing them, then you might understand or know that if you kill them at a slow rate, they will always repopulate. There will be more blues. So your best bet is either focus the host and hope you can kill him fast enough to make it a moot point, or kill the blues fast enough that you can take down the host comfortably. I'm not sure if that cooldown timer for summoning blues starts as soon as they are summoned or after they die. That's something I'm unaware of. I just know that there feels like a space of time before more blues are permitted. And it seems that blues have a separate timer from normal cooperators. So some of these solo hosts you find yourself going up against, doing the Taunter's Tongue thing, they will run to those little statues of Queen Marika or whatever they are, the little co-op pool statues that are around the place, and they'll just summon whoever's available to do their bidding for them. This fellow didn't do that, but I've seen it before, and it's something to be aware of. Here's something I didn't know. Waves of Gold has hyper armor, or whatever the term is actually called. He resisted my running halberd attack. I don't know if a heavy would have broken it, or just needed a bigger strike in general. But look at that, pacing a running attack into a neutral attack on the halberd. Oh, that felt good. But this fellow had a little bit of that tasty latency combined with the Bloodhound step. Didn't make him invincible, but it sure made him a lot tougher. So that's something that you gotta be aware of continually. And that's something I need to reevaluate, because people's ping or latency can change mid-fight. It's something that I don't need to just glance at once, but something I should keep my eyes open to. Because sometimes you'll smack someone and be like, this connection's pretty good. I'm making my hits. I'm dodging theirs. There's not ghost hits. Everything's going well. And then sometimes you'll hit and there'll be either latency or packet loss. I'm not quite convinced on what the difference is. But sometimes you'll hit somebody and the hit will either come delayed or just it'll miss completely when you're not expecting it to. And the latency gives people a little advanced window on their iframes, which is a little frustrating. But I digress. I liked playing as this little red main soldier man. There's so many tools at my disposal I could jump between to help punish people and to win the day. One such notable tool is poison. That's Not every build has easy access to poison. The martial builds do, and of course the arcane builds do. So because the quality build is the quintessential martial build, you do have access to poisons very readily. You can have a Godskin Stitcher with Poisonous Mist. You can throw the Poisonous Mist on it to buff it even though you don't have high arcane, and you're doing substantial poison buildup per hit. You can chase people, get that poison buildup. Because you're also running a quality build, you can run a little curved sword or a shamshear. I guess the shamshear is a little curved sword. And you could use some rock grease or maybe even regular poison grease. And you can just make repeated hits on somebody over and over to get them poisoned. And so that is a tool you have. And so this host, with his phantoms defeated, suddenly turns more aggressive again, despite, you know, he should have taken advantage of the moment and just spanked me. But he did not. And so we were able to switch to the Shamshear, get some lightning on it. He's been rolling in the water. It does pretty good damage, and I don't understand that interaction right there. I did the roar. The roar has an earthquake kind of effect. It hit him. It did 1,000 damage, so that feels like a direct hit, but he was jumping, I guess, but it didn't knock him out of the air. It just did damage and he moved on, almost like he poised through it. I don't know what that was. It feels like an internet moment, but this guy's a little jittery. Probably was an internet moment. If I remember correctly, this guy had, oh, what was it? It feels like he had 140 or 150 ping. So for some reason, this host, maybe it was the time of the day I was doing these invasions, but I might have been getting people not on the North American continent, or maybe people with just garbage internet. But still, it was an opportunity to learn how to use the Regal Roar a little bit. The host was someplace else. I think he was dealing with the, oh, what is it? The Astel of the Void, like, space earwig that's latched on the ceiling and flings rocks. I think that's what he was combating with while I was here dancing with this blue, who is running a Faith Int build. He's got the mask for the incantations, you know, the rings of light that require Faith and Int. So he's going for it. And here's one thing I noticed about Colossal Weapons, or maybe it was latency, I don't know, or just the internet connection overall. But Colossal Weapons can have a hard time capitalizing on guard breaks. It's, you're a little slow, there's quite the recovery there, and I haven't played with Colossal Weapons enough to notice much of it. But I switched to the Misericord and we get the running heavy, and so because he's been rolling in the water, even one-handed, even when I have strength that's being wasted on the lightning infusion, the Misericord does well enough. And look at that. Oh my gosh, the fact that the roar does 1,000 damage and he just didn't know he was still in range even though he was waiting it out. Delicious moment. I like this thing. I didn't think I would. I like axes that are reasonably sized. Like, I want to use the hatchet more, for instance. I like regular axes. I kind of liked battle axes in Dark Souls 3. They felt a lot better in that game than they do in this game, unfortunately. I like the idea of axes. I've always been more of a sword fellow, but I like axes as a number 2, I think. Number 2 pick of a weapon class, at least in concept. And so using the big chunky axe, I didn't think I would like it, and turns out I like it a lot. And the reason I like the Godfrey axe is because the heavy, I think it combos into itself. I don't know if there's like a poise value that'll resist the first part of it, and then, you know, you can dodge the second part of it or what's going on. But it feels like if you get the stomp to hit on the R2, the follow-up swing will connect as well, which is wonderful. It's very good. I've seen people run the Axe of Godfrey in their main hand and then like a light thrusting sword in their offhand, and what they'll do is they'll do the roar, of course, and then they'll hit people with a stomp follow-up swing, and then they'll just poke people afterwards with the rapier for the third hit. And that might be a true combo. I don't know. I haven't played with it. But that sounds mean. That sounds really mean. So maybe I'll have to do that. This guy does have the weight load, I believe, that you can't run like a clean rot. I think that's just a tad too heavy, but I think you could run a regular rapier or the ant spur in your offhand. So you could give it a shot if you do mimic the whole build. Up to you. But of course, if you're going to level 200 with the quality build, then you can do what you like with it. If you're confused at this video and going, you didn't show off the build, go to the last video. It'll also be a quality build. It's the second clip in that video. It'll show off the whole build. Maybe I'll slap the stats on screen. I don't know. But still, I had fun in these little invasions that were a little longer. Show you what it's like overcoming superior numbers. And again, we clean up with the Shamshir. I love running the Shamshir on a strength build or this quality build. Never really use it much on a dex build. And it's just, I love the quickness of it. I love the backswings. Backswings are very good. Make use of them. Apparently, katanas have good backswings. I haven't played with them enough. I don't know. But hey, I had fun making this. I hope you had fun seeing the fight going on, complete with slashes, swings, and all manner of violence. Take care now. Bye-bye.